Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Schmoes Show. I'm the infamous Orion, and I am trying to have that old energy I used to have on the show when we were back in college. It's kind of hard because I'm in my little rinky-dink office. There's a goose outside being obnoxious. How y'all doing?
And I'm Cairo, and I'm also a schmo.
I was wondering if I should do like the Dora response thing. That was
I
my
gave it a
favorite part
minute.
too. uh,
Yeah, I am feeling that mood though.
what you mean? Just the
Just the I don't know, that things are different and not necessarily better, and that I can do better.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. To kind of capture that college energy, I specifically use my college guitar for today's intro.
Nice.
Okay, so how you been, Kyril?
Man, it's been busy.
Isn't it?
I know it's kind of implied because we haven't done this in 3 weeks now or something. But yeah, it's been busy. Lots of life happening.
Life is very chaotic, everybody.
Yeah. Um, Fun thing, I didn't mention this before. When I was in Chicago last weekend, went over to the Field Museum. They have a special exhibit right now on cats.
Oh,
So they have I don't know if they have all of the cat species, but they have, I'd say, probably at least 75% of the uh, cat species that are still alive today that aren't extinct, right? As
yeah.
examples of them, showing their evolutionary branches and what makes them distinct from one another in a very, scientific way. And then goes on to talk about more evolutionary advantages that cats as a class have with their vocalization, their hearing abilities, the way that their claws work, the way that they have evolved to sleep, and
Okay.
how big cats and small cats have evolved the same but kind of differently. Really cool. It's a lot of stuff that's just yeah, I know cats, I know that, but it's still cool to see it in a very proper scientific setting.
Damn.
It
Makes
was
me
also
actually wish
very
I cared. Sorry.
well, it was very amusing because at the end it wraps back around to domestic cats, and they
That
have
was pretty bad.
a whole section about how cats are a part of meme culture, basically, and why that is, and how that is sort of reciprocal and beneficial for cats and humans. And it was really a fascinating way that they had it all just presented. At the very end, they even had computers set up where you could play cat video games like Stray and was it Little Kitty Big City?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That's so funny.
it was really cool. There's a really one of the things that stuck out to me was the artifacts that they had in that section talking about cats and humans was some I think it was a stool that dated back to some sort of Mayan or South Central American pre-colonialization culture that was for some sort of semi-ritual slash religious purpose that had a cat engraved into it below the seat, so the cat was holding the seat up, and because of the types and ages of the paint on it, they were able to show that at some point in that stool's history, somebody had gone and repainted specifically the cat part of it and not the rest.
Dude, okay. I'm saying this as a fellow cat lover. Cat people are loyal to cats.
Definitely.
In the same way that dog people are very loyal to dogs. Nothing against dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cats are cool. I
Cats
I
are pretty
like
cool.
cats.
I will say this, having Houdini has taught me a lot about cats.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, I have a new appreciation for them like I've never had before.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just like little. What's the word I'm looking for? They're like. I don't want to say because it sounds incredibly ableist to say that. They're just like little babies, you know? They just
Mhm.
do things.
Yeah.
And they have like no sense
Definitely.
of consequence.
Excuse me. I'll try to keep that to a limit. Part of my trip, I also brought back a cold.
Oh,
So
skill issue.
I'm a lot better than I was earlier this week, but I'm still a little bit scratchy.
I feel like everybody I know has been getting a cold lately, except for myself. Because
I
sorry.
I was gonna say I actually felt a little bit better when I got back into town because I was gone for like 5 days. And I was like, I go to Chicago, get not like COVID type sick, just like regular cold and flu type sick, and then bring it back, and I feel really shitty about that until I get back here and I realize everybody is already sick here. It's like, oh, okay, I don't feel as bad anymore.
Dude, it's fake spring. Like, everybody
Yeah.
just fell for fake spring.
Yep.
Fake spring for all you non-Michigan people. Michigan lore right now with the infamous Orion. It's a period in the season where it seems like spring's about to happen. And then we get hit with 5 more inches of snow.
Yeah. It's like 27 degrees, 25 degrees out. It was 50 yesterday.
Fuck that.
And it is heckin' windy. Ugh. So, where to start? I will be honest. I don't want to talk about like the news this time because there's so much of it and so little of it matters. Like the extent that I'm going to say is that I think this is safe for me to say that we are very supportive of the people of Ukraine and President Zelensky in particular. So like the shit yesterday was inexcusable and massively embarrassing.
Dude,
So
I didn't know how to feel yesterday. Like, I
man,
didn't think that was even an option.
it's just sad. It's not
Because,
surprising, but it's still so sad.
no, the part that gets me is the say thank you bit.
Right.
So, for
He
those of you,
did. Like,
yeah,
oh my god. Like, where do you even start? God, please, just go ahead. It's infuriating.
for those of you who don't know, President Zelensky met with President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance and Vice President Elon Musk at the White House. And essentially, all they did was bully him.
Yeah. Well, they tried to, at least. I
Yeah,
was
they
very
tried.
glad that Zelensky just was not having any of that shit.
They tried bullying him into giving up all those like rich minerals that Elon needs to run Tesla and SpaceX.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Like, it was just they kept trying to make it a transaction deal, and like obviously he had way more to gain than they did. And they were
Yep.
just trying to take advantage of the poor dude. Those guys are
Yeah.
fucking sharks.
I don't know if you saw it, the exchange with one of the air quotes reporters who was there. I don't know if he was actually a reporter or a White House staffer, but somebody asked him when cameras were rolling, asked Zelensky why he wasn't wearing a suit, implying that it's so disrespectful or whatever. I wish I had it handy right now, but Zelensky's reply was to the effect of, "I will wear a costume when my country is not at war." And that
Good.
when I do, maybe I'll wear a nice one like yours, maybe even nicer. Which was excellent. Just like, yeah, I just calling what they're doing just being in costume was so perfect. It was excellent.
Dude,
He's
like
still a comedian at heart. Thank God for him.
Zelensky is very much the American archetype of like what we like to believe a good president is.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is such a good politician.
Like, he is no bullshit, and I appreciate him for that.
Hmm.
It's just a shame that he literally had to be bullied by 3 of the biggest dorks this side of the fucking, like, I don't know, dude. Like, this side of a fucking, I keep wanting to make it fun of other people, but they're like, I'm not going to put them
No.
above those groups.
They have set the bar.
They are the biggest dorks of all time.
Yeah, and he just he took it so much better than I think most people would.
He took it better than I would.
Yeah, the way that he responded afterwards too, where he went on social media and started profusely thanking literally everybody, it's excellent. It's the exact kind of thing that will completely go over the heads of Trump and his staff.
Like, I want to be Team America, I really do, but goddamn, those fucking dorks, Ed, and Eddie over there in the fucking White House, make it very hard.
Yep. The only thing that I can say to sort of reassure myself is that they aren't America anymore.
No, that they don't represent like the people. They represent their own personal interest, and that's like exactly what happened yesterday.
Yep.
For all of you at home, please, I feel inclined to donate to a Ukrainian charity in their time of need.
Yes. Thankfully, the nations of Europe are still very much in support of Ukraine.
Dude, okay, so what is their plan anyway? Because, like, you know, this
whose plan?
The three amigos.
Oh, no, so they're trying to create the pretext to stop providing funding to Ukraine from the U.S. because that benefits Russia.
I mean, I know they're Russian informants. It's
Yeah.
very easy to see. Quite frankly, they could have played it a little bit more subtle. I don't think they're going to get an Oscar nom for what they did yesterday. However, regardless, they do realize we still have to participate with Europe, right?
I don't know if they do. That's the thing, is that we saw this in Trump's first term, and we've started to see the sort of cracks form in the same way. Who was the EPA guy in Trump's for Scott Pruitt? Scott Pruitt was nominated to lead the EPA by Trump during his first term in February 2017. Because he specifically campaigned when he was, I believe, a congressman on dismantling the EPA, right? And that's like the same kind of step-by-step thing that we've seen time and time again with his nominations, is he goes out of his way to find the people who are either the most adversarial or the most seemingly willing to try and destroy an institution from the inside that he can. Purely because of these people when they talk in public, not because of their actual actions. So you get people like RFK Jr. or Dan Bongino or the fucking podcaster guy, who are like the most laughably unqualified people to be holding these positions, you know, head of the FDA and Health and Human Services when they're a politician, a podcaster leading the FBI, right?
Yeah.
Actual, like, just finding the worst peaceful possible kind of situations. But what we found in Trump's first term is that when you take these people who are gigantic idiots and talk out of their ass all day, and they finally get to the position where it's like, okay, this is what we had with Scott Pruitt, right? It's like, okay, you're in charge of the EPA now. You have all of the information, literally all of it. You now know unequivocally that the lies you were telling about this agency aren't true. You now know literally everything that it does day in, day out, and everything that entails its operating, what it does, what it doesn't do, right? You have all this information now. And when we had with Scott Pruitt was when he got in charge of the EPA, he realized the EPA is the one that controls the nuclear stuff. And that's important. And you had this immediate turnabout within, a couple of weeks once he realized what the department that he was lying about all of this time actually does. And it didn't stop him from lying in the future, but once he got into that position, it was like, oh, he's confronted with the fact that he's been lying this whole time, right? Yeah. His hypocrisy gets put on full display. We've already seen that happen with RFK as the head of HHS, where there is a fucking measles outbreak in Texas and a rubella outbreak in California that are needing to be contained now. And he has already had to break from the narrative that he had for the last, 8 months with his vaccine bullshit and agreed to send more vaccines to Texas to try and prevent fucking measles from spreading more. It's stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, you have all the information now. You can't plead ignorance. You can't claim that you're not the expert. You lead this organization. And they have to make the decision of whether they're going to do their jobs or not do their jobs and then get fired because they aren't doing their jobs.
It is really a age of insincere hypocrisy, isn't it?
It is. I think we're going to see some really spectacular fuck-ups over the next 4 years in ways that we didn't even see in times past. Like, we have the Scaramucci unit. Do you remember this?
No, I don't.
So a Scaramucci, otherwise known as a mooch. Oh, is this actually... Oh, it's on the list of humorous measurements. I see. Is 11 or sometimes 10 days. And it is named for the length of time that the White House Communications Director, Anthony Scaramucci, was in his position under Trump in his first term.
I remember this. I forgot it was Scaramucci.
11 days. It was Scaramucci. Yeah. So a Scaramucci is 11 days. It's like a fortnight, but for modern people who are really bad at their jobs. That's where the bar is. And I think we're going to see that bar go way down. Not necessarily in time, but in, sheer incompetence put on display. So, who the hell is the... I hate that I'm going to search this, and it's going to give me an actual answer. Who is the podcaster running the FBI? It is Dan Bongino. Okay. I thought it was, but I had to double check. Bongino's qualifications are that he was once in the Army, he was in the Secret Service, and he has worked in private security. He is now the deputy director of the FBI, which has previously been the kind of position only given to career FBI officials who have worked in the FBI for decades, right?
So he's a DEI hire.
He is. But more than that, he is wildly unprepared to do this job in a way that is pretty unique, right? Genuinely, in the last 48 years, the things that he has done of note are being a right-wing grifter-type podcaster and being one of the spokespeople for NRA's NRA TV thing that flopped horribly.
I forgot about NRA TV.
Yeah, he's done basically nothing else since then. And he's going to be the one leading the FBI. So, the silver lining of this is that no matter how malicious he wants to be, he's not going to be good at his job, right? Think about how long it takes somebody to learn to do a service industry job, right? You have weeks of just training to learn a thing. And even at the end of that, you still don't really know all what you're doing. You have to kind of figure it out as you go. It's going to be like that, but for the deputy fucking director of the Federal Bureau of Intelligence. The learning curve on this is going to be so hilariously massive that, for better or worse, things are going to kind of screech to a halt at the top level of the FBI for a while he figures out what he actually is doing for his job, right? He's apparently said he's not going to stop his podcast, so that's going to take even more time.
Oh my god.
But, it's mind-boggling. It would be funny if it wasn't actually happening to us, you know?
Anywhere else in the world, I would expect this.
Yeah, I don't even know. Would a dictator like Kim Jong-un be so unaware enough to appoint a podcaster to one of their top intelligence agencies? I don't think they would. This is such a uniquely American brand of stupidity.
I blame the fact that this is all revolving around a guy who is, let's face it, his whole life has been made by the media.
Yeah.
So, like, I think truly Donald Trump has no idea of what's real and what's, Hollywood.
I agree. But at the same time, I think it's notable to, like, we can learn a lot about what is likely to happen in terms of motivations, right? With this term, with this administration from the last one. How much of his first administration was him spent basically just retweeting what he was watching on Fox News, right?
It's so weird because I find that we have to go back to pre-COVID time all of a sudden just to kind of remember this is what it was like.
Yeah.
Yeah. This whole last month it's been a time trip because I kind of realized that the internet has not been the same since COVID.
No.
No, it's been a lot less fun since COVID.
Here's a funny comparison that I just thought of.
What's up?
There's a YouTube channel I watch occasionally called Pointless Hub that does a lot of retrospective type of things on disaster type movies and kaiju movies. A lot of Roland Emmerich.
Okay.
He had one that was relatively recently he did on the 1998 Godzilla movie with who the hell is the lead?
Matthew Broderick?
Yes, thank you. With Matthew Broderick as the lead, talking about how much of a sort of time capsule it is with how lighthearted it is. Like, this is a movie about a monster destroying New York City, and it's comedic. But it was before 9/11. You compare that to basically the same thing post 9/11, Cloverfield. The movies are basically the exact same, but the tone is completely different. I wonder if COVID was the internet's 9/11.
I hear it is the Gen Z 9/11 because you can take like Gen Z, our side of Gen Z, right? The ones that were in college during the Trump admin, and then you have the ones who went to college afterwards. And supposedly there's a link between that like little break in COVID with the ones who went to college afterwards being a little bit more conservative than our, libtard asses.
Definitely. Part of that is also just the unchecked proliferation of right-wing media on certain social media sites, right? Like, the way that Joe Rogan's podcast has changed in the last 5 years, just as a really obvious example, right? And you can take that as a comparison for how other things have changed politically as well, and how people get pulled into the right-wing side of things, even if they don't do so intentionally.
Mm-hmm. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But enough about Donnie.
Enough about that. Let's talk about fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
Like, there's a new Pokemon game coming out, and it doesn't look like shit.
I'm very impressed with what we're seeing from ZA.
I think it's like, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the last Pokemon Legends game we got was Pokemon Legends Arceus, right?
That was the first one as well.
That's the only one. Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing how the Legends games are, at first glance at least, like doing so much better than the purported main games.
I was actually having this conversation with a friend of mine earlier today. What I find interesting, because obviously Pokemon tournaments are a very real thing and they bring in a lot of money. Legends is such a good compromise in terms of like the series to allow for that more experimental single player experience. Because these are RPGs at the end of the day. RPGs aren't meant to be multiplayer. So I think Legends is the best thing that could happen to the series if it keeps following this path, and it gives a little pressure off the game devs for like each new generation if they want to have like a specific focus on the multiplayer and social aspects in the main series games.
Mm-hmm.
If you can like niche it, like just give it those niches, I think this will do Game Freak wonders.
Definitely.
Did you see? Well, I assume you saw the trailer.
I did.
What are your feelings on it? I mean, graphically beautiful for what it is.
Yes, that was the first thing that stands out to me, is that they are clearly doing something different with this iteration of the game that allows the in-game, like, just actually, like, the actual gameplay to be much more visually appealing. And I haven't done, like, the kind of pixel peeping to figure out what that is, if it's more of like camera tricks versus figuring out some raw performance kind of thing. I imagine it's just better implementations, smarter implementations of things like shadows and textures, but whatever they're doing is working way better.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
I have a very big theory. I would like to propose that they've just got really good at reusing assets.
Probably.
Because that one screenshot I showed you where it shows Gen 9 up to ZA.
Yep.
If you look at those buildings, you will see a lot of the same windows with slight variations. Mm-hmm. You will also see a lot of like floors that are exactly the same. So like copy paste jobs. And because of the whole setting in, you know, fucking Pokemon Paris, they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is a region they already have a game in, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
But even then, the textures, they've gotten so much better at textures.
Yeah. I did notice, though, and I hope this is just a quirk of the trailer. It was very strange. The elements of the trailer that looked like they were in-game footage looked really good. The elements of the trailer that looked like they were pre-rendered or maybe like cutscenes from a game looked worse than the actual gameplay footage, which is very strange. I don't think I've ever seen that in a game trailer before.
To me, it strikes me that they might be working backwards, where they've been doing so much of the core aspects of the gameplay, and they're probably working on the cutscenes last. Because I do get that feeling too. It's the lighting. I feel it's the lighting.
Yes, that would make a lot of sense if they just have the lighting polished up.
Yeah. It looks absolutely great. And the new battle system they put in there, great. Everything looks great. I am perpetually jealous that people can still go on fucking Twitter and say this looks like shit, because clearly they have nothing else going on with their life, and I wish I had that.
I only have two real complaints with it.
What's that?
One is very minor, and that's the starter choices. And I don't have a problem with any of the individual selections. I just find it's very strange to have two Gen 2 starters and only two of the three.
Okay. Well,
I would have liked to have had
got canceled.
either. I know. I would have liked to have had, well, and that's fine. We can have that happen, but I would have liked to have seen either Chikorita or Totodile swapped out for a different generation's starter. Like, just throw a Bulbasaur in there instead of Chikorita. Like, who really fucking cares?
Fair.
Something like that. Otherwise, it kind of asks the question, where's Cyndaquil? What slur did he say?
Cyndaquil was not invited back.
Yeah. The bigger complaint that I have is with their Wild Zones concept.
Okay.
I feel like it's really clunky the way that they implemented it.
Why say so?
Okay, so do you know Balan Wonderworld? I know you do. I'm asking rhetorically.
Why do you invoke that name?
The way that they have the little like way gates set up that looks so artificial immediately reminds me of that game, where there's like these sets that are just dropped in a way that is extremely immersion breaking. Like, why is this here? Thank God. Like, the Pokemon Company, they just put JPEGs on their website. Fucking kings. I don't have to get the screen snipping tool out. But the one they have the weird, like, glowing gates. Like, that wouldn't exist. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you put up, I would immediately be better with it if it was just, put, some Pokemon cops there with a fence, right? Be like, no, you gotta have a Pokemon to come in this way. There's wild Pokemon everywhere, sorry. Something like that. Make it make sense in the world. This doesn't. Because this is supposed to be like 1900s France or some shit with the architecture, right? You're not gonna have VR glasses looking shit. The Matrix. It stands out.
I see your logic. I see it.
Yeah.
I guess my suspension of disbelief might be a little higher. It doesn't bother me too much, but I do see your point.
I think part of it is, and obviously we haven't played the game, of course. I have no idea how much of a thing this is going to be. I don't like that you can constantly see this artificial boundary that they have set up for the wild zone areas from wherever you are in the wild zone. I don't like that there's this little reminder that you're in this little zoned off space. Especially in a place that is so urban, having buildings everywhere gives you so much more of a natural way to create blockades organically. You just put a building there. You block off a roadway, you know? It feels slapped together.
Man, imagine you just are trying to go to work in the morning, and you take a wrong turn, and all of a sudden you're just down this one-end street. Oh, yeah. Fuck, I hit the wild area.
So that's my other thought, though, is that if they were more of a less... Because that was the thing in the trailer that they talked about, I'm pretty sure, is that these are designated zones for the wild Pokemon to be in the city. I would have liked if they were, rather than being this is a designated zone, it was, you will come across zones where there are abundant wild Pokemon, and in order to keep these spaces friendly to the wild Pokemon that share these cities, the Lumos government has set up safe zones so that these wild Pokemon can be safe from the city at large, and have them move around. I think that would be great. Oh, you want to go to the market today? Sorry, there's a wild zone in the way. You can either go around it, or you can fight your way through the wild Pokemon there. I don't know how they'd actually implement that in the game, and there's probably genuine logistical problems that would prevent that, but I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah. We will see. It's only a minute and a half, but there's so much promise in this trailer.
It is. It's very encouraging.
It's amazing what happens when Game Freak gets time to develop.
Yeah, isn't it? Also notable, the 9-foot tall giant. Wonder who that is.
Have you played that game?
I know enough about it to understand the character.
Fair.
Yeah.
Because they're not exactly subtle.
It's just peak JRPG stuff. It's just yes, you're a 4-foot child. Here's a 9-foot tall man. He's hunched over and he still towers over you. He's just a guy. Don't worry about it. It'll probably come up later.
He's just he never skipped breakfast.
Yeah.
You know that shit about your mom saying broccoli is going to make you grow up big and strong? That's the world's #1 broccoli fan right there.
Mm-hmm. I also love that they have this blurb on the page where it's he's the owner of Hotel Z and claims to be 3,000 years old. And it's just well, yeah, if I saw a 9-foot tall giant and the dude said he was 3,000 years old, sure, I believe him. Why not?
I mean, imagine what happens if you don't believe him.
Right? I'm not going to take that chance.
Dude, he'll pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the reach. Motherfucker needs to get out of the fucking Hotel Z and go join the fucking Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of a Michigan team, but I don't know what our basketball team is.
It's the Pistons.
Pistons? I thought it would be the
Yeah.
Pistons, but I thought that was hockey.
Nope. So I know that the for the Mega Evolutions, I was wondering how many of them are new, if any. I recognize some of them, but not all
Uh,
of them.
they did not show a new one yet.
Okay. I was very amused at the Mega Kangaskhan because it's just like the child just gets a job.
The child just gets a job.
Yeah. They're out. They've been kicked out of the house. They've got to be. They're like an apprentice to the parent now.
Yes.
Great.
They're like a little Austin Powers style mini me.
Yeah, exactly. Also, personally, a much bigger fan of the Mega Evolution just as a concept than a lot of the other gimmick implementations that they've had lately.
That's fair. Did you see Champions trailer?
I don't think so.
So you remember like back in the day when they had those Pokemon Battle Arena games where you would just get like a whole bunch of Pokemon and you just battle in like very gorgeous environments?
Yeah.
They're doing that for smartphones now.
Huh.
Now here's the kicker, right? They have not announced the price, but they have confirmed you will pay an upfront fee for it.
Yeah.
And you have to pay for Nintendo Switch Online as well to access the servers.
Oh my God.
And then, if you want to use your actual Pokemon from the games, you have to pay for a Pokemon Home subscription.
Jesus. What should you? Why wouldn't you?
Dude. Fuck you. The Pokemon Company wants to buy Elon Musk and then have him dress in a Pikachu outfit to give out trophies at the tournaments.
Jeez.
I mean, it's gonna work.
I do love their like elevator pitch for this on their website. This new battle-focused game will feature familiar mechanics such as Pokemon types, abilities, and moves. Like, I hope so.
I sure
If
hope
it
my
doesn't,
Pokemon moves.
is it if you don't have Pokemon types and moves, is it Pokemon? I don't think you could call it a Pokemon battle at that point.
I'm thinking, like, what is the bare essence that you can boil this down to?
Mm-hmm. I think the type system is kind of a prerequisite if you want something to be a Pokemon battle, right? Because like we have things in like Smash Bros, right, where you can have Pokemon fight each other, but it's not a Pokemon battle. It's just Pokemon fighting.
I think the type system is probably the most underrated mechanic in all those
Mm-hmm.
games because it's intuitive. Everybody knows fire burns grass, grass absorbs water, puts out fire. That's literally the easiest thing a child can understand.
Yeah.
Damn. Maybe that's where Power World got everything wrong because they made everything gun type. You notice how Power World's been very fucking quiet lately?
They put out some announcement with like a player milestone thing recently,
Oh,
but
never mind.
otherwise, yeah.
Bah.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish Power World would, I don't know, differentiate themselves a little bit more, you know? Like, they clearly have an audience of their own. Just, you know, lean into that.
I don't even think Power World is that awful as a concept now that I'm a little bit, like, used to it.
No,
I think
it's not. Pokemon clones have been around for forever, right?
Oh yeah, Robopon, fucking Robopon's the only one I know that's like a definitive clone.
Yeah. I just wish it was a little bit higher effort.
I think Power World really could have just used some more time cooking on the original concept. It's just making it like fucking was it a survival game with Pokemon?
Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah, whatever. That doesn't sit well with me. But like you could do so much with like the Pokemon IP that they don't even touch because Game Freak is afraid of money. Turns out Game Freak doesn't want to buy Elon Musk. Not Game Freak, the Pokemon Company. The Pokemon like I think here's my money making plan. Right, this is what's going to get us a lot of money, Kyril.
Okay.
The Two Schmoes game. It's Pokemon, but with Animal Crossing elements.
Which Animal Crossing elements?
I am partial to New Leaf because that's my favorite one, but we all know New Horizons made all the money.
Yeah. So would it still have like battling?
Yes, we'll say it has battling. We will say like what it has is like a 24-hour daily timer. So when you log in the next day, all the trainers reset, and if you choose to battle someone again, there's a chance their Pokemon will level up with yours. So the NPCs scale with you.
Interesting.
Thank you.
I would appreciate a Pokemon game in general that had not necessarily post game, but just more adaptive elements in the main game before the post game. Because there's some really cool stuff that they've done in the post games of their games that a lot of people just don't ever get to see because you beat the game and then you want to go do something else.
Dude, I have such a gaming backlog right now. I'm just trying to burn through my games to get to the games I want to play after.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
How big is your backlog right now?
Let me double check. Pull up Steam. It's not too bad. I don't have a lot of the games that I've actually paid for recently have been through like Humble Bundle type stuff, where it's just like, yeah, it's a good deal. I'll take that.
Okay.
I think I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have about 8 games that I'm like, okay, I need to play these still.
For me, I've got to
Oh,
get
I'm
through Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom still.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you ever wanted to try like Tears of the Kingdom without playing Tears of the Kingdom, and you wanted something puzzle focused, I don't know how they did it, but they did it. After that, I've got Ace Attorney, and then Final Fantasy X, and then I should be caught up.
So I was very wrong. I have about 20 games that I need to play through. Some of them are things I need to replay through that I've gotten on PC now. So like The Last of Us Part 1 and Uncharted 4 and Doom Eternal are games that I've already played, but just never on like modern hardware. You know, it was all console stuff. So
Yeah.
need to do that. Otherwise, I have Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3
Fuck.
that are on my list. Resident Evil 4, I played about an hour of and then just stopped. I don't remember why. It's a good game. I just think just didn't have the time and then just forgot about it. Wolfenstein 2, New Colossus, Red Redemption 2. Just kind of classic stuff that, you know, like I say classic, it's not that old, but, you know, good games.
Yeah.
I got the Mass Effect Legendary Edition for really cheap, so I figure I should play through that at some point. Same with the Halo Master Chief Collection, because I never had an Xbox. I've got a bundle of indie stuff like Animal Well and Stars in Time and A Short Hike to go through. There was also a bundle of all of the Yakuza games. And I'm currently I'm working through Zero right now, but there's like 7 more that I have, and then there's like 3 more that weren't in the bundle.
God damn, dude.
So yeah.
You might as well pick up like pixel remasters for Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I've heard those are pretty good.
Get into the MTG spirit.
I also got a Fallout bundle with the original Fallout games. Those are pretty low priority, but I would like to play through Fallout 1 and 2 at some point. It just feels, you know, right.
Here I'm complaining about 3 games in my backlog, and you're over here with a fucking... I don't even know. Okay, I think I'm more upset about my novel backlog at the moment than my game backlog. Yeah.
What else do I have? I know I have more stuff. I have, a lot of it is though a lot of the games that I own but I haven't played yet are things that I've gotten through charity bundles. So I have one from Jingle Jam, one of the past years that they did, where it's like, yeah, here's 70 games. I'm probably not going to play them ever, but I have them. Some of them are good. I know that. But I just don't care that much. I've pulled out the ones that I do care about.
Fair, fair, fair.
There's also stuff like Assetto Corsa that I got for like a couple dollars because I know it's a good racing sim, but it's that the bar to like starting that is so high that I don't know if I ever will.
Fair, fair, fair.
Yeah, a lot of stuff like that. Things I just picked up because it's just like, yeah, $2, that's a good deal.
What else is on the show's agenda today?
Okay. We had a bit of a movie wrap up that we have to go through here.
One of the movies I've got a fucked up story about.
We've got we've got one real notable one and a bunch of stuff to just power through real quick.
Okay.
Releases that are kind of major that we didn't have a chance to talk to yet. Love Hurts, the Ke Kwan leading role. What the hell is this movie actually about? I've seen trailers for it, but I couldn't tell you. Ke Kwan stars as Marvin Gamble, a realtor working for the Milwaukee suburbs where for sale signs bloom. Oh, great. Gable receives a crimson envelope from Rose, a former partner in crime that he had left for dead. She's not happy. Now Marvin is thrust back into a world of ruthless hitmen, filled with double crosses and open houses turned into deadly war zones. With his brother Knuckles, a violent crime lord hunting him, Marvin must confront the choices that haunt him and the history he never truly buried. Critic reviews aggregate to 18%.
Damn. Ke Kwan is good. He can't save a bad movie, though.
Yeah.
He's like salt. Salt will make something taste better, but it'll make shitty things taste worse.
Mm-hmm. Other releases. This weird one is there's like a weird bit of like horror stuff that released apparently in February, which is excuse me. Seems like the wrong time,
They're single awareness movies. They're for people who don't get Valentine's Day dates.
I guess so. We've got one called Heart Eyes.
Okay.
For the past several years, the Heart Eyes killer has wreaked havoc on Valentine's Day by stalking and murdering romantic couples. This Valentine's Day, no couple is safe. Generally positive reviews, but from what I was reading, didn't do great box office wise.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
It's a movie in February. The only movie that's ever done that well is Deadpool.
We also have something called The Monkey.
Oh, yeah.
Twin brothers find a mysterious wind-up monkey. A series of outrageous deaths tear their family apart. 25 years later, the monkey begins a new killing spree, forcing the estranged siblings to confront the cursed toy. Again, generally positive reviews, though critics are much more positive on this than audiences, strangely enough.
They do not like the monkey.
Apparently. Usually with the horror movies, the audience scores are like a guarantee.
I feel like, okay, horror movies get like a little bit of leeway with most people. I think it's most people, right, will enjoy a movie that gets a emotional reaction out of them.
Yep.
And I argue horror movies can do that easier than a lot of other movies.
Yeah. Apparently this is a Stephen King adaptation.
Of course it is.
And I'm seeing quite a few audience reviews that are critical of it not being like not what they expected, I guess, or being disappointed. I'm not sure how quite to categorize all of them, but lots of mention of it being a Stephen King movie in the negative reviews.
Is Stephen King even a good author?
I think so.
You think so?
I mean, at a certain point, I feel like you can reasonably equate success and good. Like, if somebody does something that is successful once, it could be a fluke. When they do it like 10 times, it's a pretty good sign that there's something there. I think about it in terms of like professional Magic players, right? Where one of the big criticisms of people who play professional Magic, or the same way that there's like professional Monopoly players, is people be like, "Oh, well, it's just a random thing. It's so random that it's just luck based if you win or not." And it's like, well, no, because these people are clearly winning a lot more than average. They're doing something skill based.
Okay, I will give you that. I just, in my opinion, right?
Yep.
I've never felt an urge to read Stephen King. I've never heard good enough things to that, like he may fit my type.
Sure.
However, I don't think Stephen King. I'm his target audience, to be frank. So like that could be it. I could be just very critical, but I've never met anybody who said Stephen King was their favorite author that was above the age of 18.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Back to February releases, we got Paddington in Peru.
Hell yeah. Finally, some real fucking movies.
When Paddington discovers his beloved aunt has gone missing from the home for retired bears, he and the Brown family head to the jungles of Peru to find her. Determined to solve the mystery, they soon stumble across a legendary treasure as they make their way through the rainforests of the Amazon.
This time,
This one, like every Paddington movie, is doing exceptionally well. People love this guy.
Paddington is not fucking around. Isn't Peter Capaldi in those movies?
Is he? Let me
I'm
double
pretty
check.
sure he's in Paddington 2 and 3, from what I've heard.
I don't see him in the cast list, though
God
that doesn't mean
damn
that
it.
he's not in them.
One
He might
second.
just not be credited in the Rotten Tomatoes page.
I gotta find out if my man Peter C's in there. Okay, he's in Paddington 1 and 2, apparently.
Okay. Capaldi got too big for him, apparently.
I will watch anything with Peter Capaldi in it.
I believe you.
Well, I hope so. There's not really much I can reasonably lie about there.
Next release is Last Breath. Heart-pounding film that follows seasoned deep-sea divers as they battle the raging elements to rescue their crewmate, trapped hundreds of people at the ocean surface. Based on a true story, Last Breath is teamwork, something, resilience, race against time. Yeah, those are the elements of a movie. They got that part.
Sounds like it's got plot, too.
I've heard some pretty favorable, not overwhelmingly so, but favorable reviews of this one. Rotten Tomatoes reviews seem to support that, though total viewership is pretty low. I think this one just came out this weekend, though, so that kind of makes sense. Hasn't had as long to cook. Next one we have up is another recent release, My Dead Friend Zoe. This one's doing very well. I'm kind of surprised because I had not heard of it before I went to look these up. My Dead Friend Zoe is a dark comedy drama that follows the journey of Merritt, a U.S. Army Afghanistan veteran who is at odds with her family thanks to the presence of Zoe, her dead best friend from the Army. Despite the persistence of her VA group counselor, played by Morgan Freeman, the tough love of her mother, and the levity of an unexpected love interest, Merritt's cozy, dysfunctional friendship with Zoe keeps the duo insulated from the world. That is, until Merritt's estranged grandfather, holed up at the family's ancestral lake house, begins to lose his way and needs the one thing he refuses: help. At its core, this is a buddy film about a complicated friendship, a divided family, and the complex ways in which we process grief.
But is Peter Capaldi in it?
I'm gonna go with no. It does have Ed Harris.
Ed Harris?
Yeah.
Weird.
He's old. I guess more that like obviously he's old, but he's looking older than I would have expected. Yeah, no Capaldi, unfortunately.
Damn it.
And last, and possibly least, Captain America: Brave New World.
Have you heard about the movie theater roof that crashed during this movie?
I did, and nobody was hurt because there's two people in it.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Um, So yeah, Captain America: Brave New World. We'll go through the motions here. Anthony Mackie returns as the high-flying superhero, or sorry, high-flying hero Sam Wilson, who's officially taken up the mantle of Captain America. After meeting with newly elected U.S. President Thaddeus Ross, Sam finds himself in the middle of an international incident. He must discover the reason behind a nefarious global plot before the true mastermind has the entire world seeing red.
Okay.
One thing that I find very amusing reading through this, just like a literal 3 sentence summary of it, is that they can't even in such a brief period stop themselves from spoiling the movie.
I know. That's why I just can't get over.
Yeah.
I
I get why they did it the way that they did from like a marketing perspective, right? Because like I don't know. I don't know. I think that that is giving the people a little bit too much leeway, right? I could very well see them taking the perspective of like, okay, how do we advertise this if we don't plaster the fact that Harrison Ford is Red Hulk everywhere? You know? I'm sure that was the ultimate question that they had to answer, and they did not come up with a good answer for it. They really
I
just
wish
needed to like trust that they work with talented people who make a good product and that people will see it because it's a Marvel movie and because it's a good movie, people will go and see it. But they couldn't hold themselves. They couldn't contain themselves. So they spoiled the only fucking point in the movie.
they really should have done it like a mystery. Like,
Yes, exactly. So to be clear, I haven't seen it. I've only watched a couple of reviews. I've read some of the stuff on Rotten Tomatoes. It's at a 49% right now, and from everything that I've heard of the reviews that I saw, that is one of the big problems is that the movie tries to treat who is Red Hulk as some like unknown question when it's been plastered in literally every trailer since day one.
well, didn't they also use fucking Harrison Ford's face on Hulk?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course they did.
Credit to like OG Green Hulk. At least you can't really tell that's Mark Ruffalo. But
Yep.
Red Hulk just looks like Harrison Ford doing red face.
Yeah, because it is.
It looks like Harrison Ford when you ask him a question about Han Solo. Fuck y'all. That
I was
funny.
actually kind of amused by this. I watched The Fugitive last night. I was so impressed, and I always am whenever I see The Fugitive, at how just like the artistic balls that it takes to be like, okay, we've got Harrison Ford as the lead in our movie. This is after all Indiana Jones movies. It's after Star Wars. He's already been Jack Ryan in the Tom Clancy movies. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make him just look like a regular fucking guy for the first 30 minutes. He's not gonna look like Harrison Ford. And it works so well every time.
What could be a movie that Harrison Ford will say yes to that, but isn't like a Harrison Ford-esque role?
It's a good question. I think that he would agree to a lot, frankly. Maybe not at this point in his career, but like 10 years ago, I think, if you have the money for him, he would have been down for whatever.
Fair, fair, fair.
Curious, I'm skimming through his, that's dumb, his filmography real quick to see if there's anything that like really jumps out. Like, so here's the thing, though, right? His two foundational roles, really, like, it wasn't. He obviously did stuff before it, but like the things that put him on the map for like the modern people is Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
Yeah, George Lucas.
Yes, but those two characters, while they have a lot of similarities, they can be represented in such a broad dynamic of characterizations as we've seen them do. I'm not sure what you could do other than like maybe put him in like a super serious like oh, what the hell was that called? It's like it's has a bunch of fucking people in it and I can't remember the name of it. Like a really takes itself very serious like mystery type movie.
Mm.
You know? Where you can't have Harrison Ford cracking wise. You gotta have him play it completely straight from start to finish. Because he's looking at like 7 levels of horror as he's investigating murders or something.
You know, Harrison Ford, like, I know we're talking about a very serious movie, but I wouldn't mind seeing him in a Knives Out mystery.
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, he would fit the roles there pretty well.
I do think we got maybe a taste of that in Blade Runner.
Ooh, good call, good call.
It doesn't really like fully develop, but they don't give much room for levity in that. He has to play it pretty straight just inherently.
Do you think he could pull a Joe Biden biography movie?
No.
No?
I haven't seen him have like vocal acting, being able to change his voice enough to do something like that. I think he could
Fair.
maybe do a likeness, but I don't think he could do a good enough impersonation.
That's fair. That's fair. I could see that. I think Biden would be a very hard president to do a biography movie on because,
Yeah.
well, he's got a stutter. So, like, you have to
Yes.
find a way to tastefully do that.
Right. Is it American Graffiti? What world do you have? I haven't seen American Graffiti in so long. I think I've only seen it maybe once or twice. Of course, it's George Lucas. That's why he's in it.
Those two used to be such good friends.
Yep. Yeah, he's not even on the main like cast list. He would have been 1973. He would have been fairly early in his career still at that point. 4 years before Star Wars. No, I don't think that counts. But yeah, Captain America: Brave New World. It's
It's a
pretty
movie.
mid. I'll say. I think this is maybe a sign that the Marvel scale that Marvel movies have been graded on for so long is starting to die.
Yeah.
This is like the first movie that's come out of Marvel Studios, I think, like maybe 10 years, that seems like it's actually being graded on the same scale that other movies are. Because it's like, it's not awful. It's got, competent people working on it, doing a thing. It's just, not great. So, 50 for critics, 80 from audiences, that checks out.
The Marvel Dynasty is falling.
Seems like it. They only got a few more chances to try and pull it back.
I really think it's all going to come down to fucking Doomsday.
Mm-hmm.
And if that movie flops, that's going to be the best named movie of all time.
Yeah, it really, I mean, like, bringing back Robert Downey Jr. is about as obvious of a desperate move as you can make, right? Like, they know things are not going well and they need something to turn it around.
I feel like it's the Jonathan Majors syndrome. I think
Yeah.
if Jonathan Majors didn't have the fallout that he did, we wouldn't get Robert Downey Jr. back.
I think that would have been fine though too. Like the trajectory that they had was solid, and it is extremely disappointing that Majors is, such a piece of shit that they couldn't execute on it.
Oh yeah, uh, fucking Chadwick Boseman dying,
Yeah,
major dysfunction. Those are the two big things I think fucked this up as much as it did.
definitely.
That and Disney Plus.
Credit to them though, the Black Panther sequel did a really good job navigating like what that would have actually looked like.
Black Panther 2,
Yeah,
that I would probably put in my top 3 post Endgame movies.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to review it to double check, but I would not be surprised if it ranks up highly for me as well. I have problems individually with certain decisions that they made, but there's not like a structural problem that we keep seeing come up in these movies so often lately.
No, 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 no. Like, it's at least fresh. Like, I think a
Yeah,
lot of the problems that the MCU has right now is the idea that they're Marvel movies. You know? You say a Marvel movie, you know what you're going to get. And I feel like
definitely.
they're banking too much on that. Where you have something like my top 3, I think they all share a pretty common denominator here, but like Black Panther 2, Multiverse of Madness. I wish I knew a third Marvel movie that fit that scale, actually. Definitely not Quantum Mania. Quantum Mania
Let's see.
sucked. Let's see here.
Post Endgame.
Oh, Guardians 3. That's an
Yeah.
easy one. Yeah.
Guardians 3 is an
Those
easy one for sure.
yeah. Those 3, at least are experimental and still doing shit. As opposed to Quantum Mania. Ugh.
I did appreciate hearing in Brave New World that they apparently at least acknowledged that Eternals happened.
I forgot Eternals even happened.
They show one of the like I don't even know what it's called, the giant guy that tries to be birthed from the earth and gets turned off. There's apparently some fight sequence at that. So it's like, yeah, okay. It's nice to know that that did happen.
I think that's the last time we'll hear about the Eternals.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think they'll, assuming that the studio doesn't like completely fall apart, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them come back to it eventually because it's not bad ideas. It was just really poorly executed on.
Yeah. I agree with that wholly. I think like
Yeah.
Quantum Mania would be such a better movie if it was just good.
Bold take.
Dude, it's literally the only thing I can think of. Because everything in that movie is adequate up to Jonathan Majors being fucking fantastic in that movie.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
I feel like my bigger problem with it is that it would be, I think if you kept everything the same, like plot wise, beat for beat wise, and just made it not an Ant-Man movie. Like just take
Ooh.
the Ant-Man stuff out of it and put a different character into that circumstance, and I think it works a lot better.
Because at the end of the day, you have
And
to believe that Jonathan Majors is a scary new villain,
yeah,
but Ant-Man still 1v1s him and wins.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a problem.
that's a huge problem.
Okay, let me double check to make sure I'm not completely off base on this. No, I am slightly. I got them mixed up. I was thinking of, yeah, Far From Home. Imagine if rather than the order we had them in, you had Ant-Man in Europe because his daughter is doing like a school trip there and he has to fight fucking Jake
Mysterio.
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah,
Mysterio, thank you. He has to fight the Mysterio elemental guys and you get Spider-Man able to go on the wormhole, super small adventure to go fight Jonathan Majors. Just flip those around. If you have to do them both still, I would have liked that. I think that is makes No Way Home not a worse movie, but makes Quantumania a lot better.
I was going to say Doctor Strange could do Quantumanium storyline probably pretty well.
Maybe. I'm not sure there's enough interpersonal dynamics to make the structure that they tried to set up for it work with Doctor Strange.
No. I think Multiverse of Madness is cool because it is essentially the core of Doctor Strange is you have this really cool like Sherlock Holmes wizard type dude.
Yeah.
And it's just him going around fucking around seeing what's going on in the multiverse. While being chased by a fucking evil witch, but c'est la vie. Such is life.
Yeah.
What else do we have on the show agenda?
Last thing, the Oscars are tomorrow.
Conan O'Brien hosted Oscars are tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was curious to double check. Where do they have it? Oh, ABC. There it is. Gotcha. So yeah, ABC is going to have it. It'll be streamed on a bunch of places. I think we kind of went over this all already. Really just gonna have to wait and see how it comes around.
Honestly, I just hope Conan has fun. Like when Conan has fun,
Yeah.
It is a funny ass man on stage.
I'm sure he will.
Oh yeah. I am so sick of the pomp and circumstance of the Oscars, and I'm just hoping Conan goes up there and just does something for once. Yeah, I really hope that he gets like fucking somebody like his sidekick Andy on stage and they reenact the Will Smith slap.
Mm-hmm.
That I would find funny. Just take the piss out of the Oscars.
Do you want to know something very funny?
What's up?
Rotten Tomatoes has an awards leaderboard for movies released in 2024. The current top 3 with 105 wins is The Substance. With 104 wins is Anora, and with 103 wins is The Brutalist. That's across like all award shows and ceremonies globally. So it's pretty broad.
Yeah.
But they are right neck and neck for the top spot, and could easily see any one of them taking a big jump over the other depending on how the Oscars go.
Interesting. My prediction is Conan O'Brien will win because he is going to be Conan O'Brien. You know, I don't care for the Oscars. I care for Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you, but like in the last year, I've become a real simp for that man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, I have Sam watch Conan O'Brien clips with me, like of his old talk shows. I've got a little dartboard with Jay Leno's face on it now.
I believe that's all I've got, though.
I believe that's all I've got, too. In that case, I'm Two Schmoes Orion, and I've been a Schmo.
And I'm Carl, and I've also been a Schmo.
And zoobity zop, zee dop dop dop, we're going to stop. Bop.